Ahoy! I spent the day testing some of the changes that made it into update 1.0.4 so that I could get a better feel for what has actually changed, how drastic the changes are, and what has actually been fixed. And that's what I want to talk about today. So we're going to go through the patch notes, and while we do that, I will discuss some more things in depth that I've learned since the update came out today. Outpost Rush is not enabled right now. It will be soon. As soon as that comes out, I'm definitely going to play it a bit, and I'm going to make a video about it as well. But for now, we're talking about what has been fixed. So the main things that I mentioned here are the AoE magic exploit in wars, as well as invulnerability, as well as faction token caps, and them rolling out Outpost Rush, as well as server transfers. So server transfers will be enabled once again, 2 AM PT after the downtime. There's still some issues with them at the moment. They made kind of an announcement that some people cannot transfer at the moment yet, and will be in the near future, because if they transfer right now, it would cause certain issues for them, which weren't specified, but I guess it may be connected to like the duping bug as well. And once these issues are solved, basically, it should be re-enabled to the remaining region. So I'm not entirely sure if that has happened for every region yet. I haven't looked into the transfers further, but it should be working for most people soon. Outpost Rush is also going to be enabled soon. This is on different times for different areas, so you can just look at yours here. For us in Australia, it will be at I think 8 AM, yeah, or 9 PM UTC, but they had the current time somewhere as well. Doesn't matter anyways. That is going to be enabled, and we'll finally be able to play it, though it may not be entirely fixed yet, but we'll have to see about that. Obviously, there's a little bit of a downtime coming with that as well. Apparently, might just be a short one though. So let's just see how that plays out. I still have a feeling it might not actually go through as scheduled, but fingers crossed. Right, so there are a few general changes that we need to look into. The first one here is that the Everfall starting area has been disabled, the beach has been disabled, so that new players have a higher chance of meeting, basically. So that people can play with their friends quicker. I don't know why they don't do that in another way where you can just start in the same place by choice, but this is the way they choose to go about it, I guess, by reducing the starting beaches. That works too, with less new players coming in. So there was an issue basically that was kind of misleading with the player house discount. For the first house, people thought that it would actually decrease the taxes as well, whenever you had to pay taxes for your house in between. That's not the case. And in order to kind of offset the money that people may have spent, not expecting that, not knowing that, everyone who owned a house before that, or before the recent patches, got 2,000 coins. So that finally went through now. There's a note here saying slightly improved performance within wars. That must be a very, very, very slight improvement. So we tested this again in today's war, and as a tank on point, nothing changed. Apparently, if you're off point, there may be slight changes in terms of performance, a bit more stability, and you can actually fight a bit more. Some people reported that at least. Overall, I would say we're not seeing a drastic improvement there yet, and it's still mostly a slideshow, really. There's a slightly improved the performance of the life stuff with changes to passive abilities, Mending Touch and Blissful Touch. There's actually a lot more going into this, which I think wasn't really specified anywhere. So, for example, the light stuff, light attack, or the basic attack in general, I think, no longer has an AoE. It doesn't AoE heal. It doesn't heal yourself, which used to be possible. And I think there are also some further changes to the abilities that are not quite specified here in how exactly they work and how much they heal. So we're still looking into that to fully find out what's happening there. But I think there was some pretty significant under the hood stuff, basically. But still, life staff remains very strong, and it's not like you're suddenly going to lose all your duels or something. If you're using life staff, you're probably still going to win for free, and in wars, they still heal sufficiently. So it's not like there has been any massive negative changes, but realistically, the life staff also needs nerfs anyway, so whatever is getting changed in that direction is a good change in my opinion. Then there was a bug causing companies to lose income from owning multiple territories or from failed war declarations. And now people that did that or had this issue getting their gold back. So they will all be reimbursed, which is also very nice. And the faction token cap is increased by 50% per each faction gear. This makes sense because the gear prices were increased with launch, basically, the faction gear prices. And I think the cap was never adjusted for that. I'm not quite sure, but either way, Now the faction cap is always 50% higher, meaning you can save up a little more towards your next upgrade while you're leveling up. More important change that happened in that regard is there were a lot of people who were stuck on a lower rank, like especially around tier 4. A lot of people were stuck on the tier 4 rank, and for some reason were unable to upgrade to tier 5, even though they completed the mission. That is now fixed, and people can actually get their tier 5 upgrades and actually can get their full faction gear as well. Then we have some more general bug fixes. I think this is actually, yeah, this is mentioned here as well. That's the same bug that I just talked about. An issue where world time would skip ahead or behind, which would subsequently cause a variety of issues across the world. That's fixed. Fixed an issue causing players to lose houses they own in cutlass keys. Fixed several rare server crash issues. Fixed an issue with the suspension ban notification showing incorrect times. There's more to be done there, by the way. The moment if you report too many bots, you may actually end up getting a warning for that, for supposedly like mass reporting, if you're just reporting bots. Supposedly. So, yeah, it's a bit weird what's going on with the bans at the moment, and yeah, it needs to be go a bit further than just some notifications there. I think. Fix an issue where players could use their world transfer token while they still had active trading post contracts, causing additional issues when the transfer resolved. Fix an issue causing some AI not to spawn in the world as intended. This does not solve a lot of the bug spawns. There are some mobs that only spawn after server resets, still the case for many of those, so whatever has been done there is definitely not enough, and that's very frustrating because it means that certain things in the world literally can't be farmed at all, and either you get them on the server restart or you don't get them. Fix an issue where Merc got corrupted portals in Channel Mountain were distributing higher tier gear than intended and respawning faster than intended. Fix an issue where enemies in Merc got corrupted portals were dropping loot. So these two things are interesting. First means that the portals are actually functional now, so you can actually get the tier, well, the highest tier portals cache as well, which is important because that's the only way to effectively farm the shards for dungeon keys, very likely. I guess you can use lower tier portals as well, but yeah, the fact that those can actually drop things now is very good for that, and they obviously drop very good loot as well. And also the portal mobs were supposedly dropping things that no other mobs in the game currently drop. This is just a rumor. I'm not sure if this is actually true, but they were, I think, meant to drop some parts for life staffs that you can't get anywhere. And if that's actually the case, if it's actually true, that's very interesting, because the question is, where are those actually supposed to drop? And are they supposed to drop from the same mobs, but just in non-corruption portal areas? Or what's going on with that? We don't know, but it remains interesting. Fix an issue causing an unintended animation when interacting with the bubbling Cauldron housing item. An issue caused the ladle object to not appear in the player's hand while interacting. Fix an issue with star metal and orichalcum ore veins, where large ore veins rewarding small amounts of ore and small ore veins rewarding large amounts of ore. So that's been switched around. There's been a lot of back-end coding for that. I saw the data mining for it, and yeah, that looks a lot cleaner. Thanks to Void Glitch for the data mining, by the way. Fixed an issue where the war lottery timer would not pause correctly during the war lockout period. Fixed the render distance of the jack-o'-lantern pumpkin lights. Fixed an issue causing the GM chat tag to show on non-GM players. Fixed an issue causing armor textures to flicker. Fixed an issue in the Starstone Bearers expedition where the arcane protection was not protecting players from certain lasers. Fixed an issue where certain enemies in the Emerald excavation were invulnerable. Fixed an issue where the ice piling could stay on infinite cooldown. Fixed an issue where players could obtain rings that had 2 perks sharing an exclusive perk label and shouldn't exist on the same ring. This one is interesting because I think the Weaver's knot still has that, as far as I'm aware, which also has like the luck perk twice, basically. We'll see if that gets fixed, or if I maybe just missed it. Fixed an issue causing the projectile visual to be absent from Ice Gauntlet and Ice Pylon tags. Fixed an issue where players would be unable to complete a variety of game actions after fast traveling. And then we have speculative fixes. The fixes listed below are tentative fixes and mitigations. Our goal is to get these changes out and see if issues persist, so we continue to work on them and address in a future update if necessary. Fixed a war exploit where players could use an area of effect magic effects to capture rally points without taking damage. This should be improved by the war performance and life staff performance updates. We'll continue to monitor to see if these issues persist. Now, I think in the war we had today, it was still very laggy, but I think we were actually getting hit by everything. So that one, I'm hoping, is at least not unintentionally happening. Like, obviously, some people in our group, some mages, would use AoE on point, so that can cause this lag as well. And in previous wars, we have noticed lag. But what they're talking about here is a very specific bug abuse where a large group of players uses AoE magic on the same area on the point, and that causes the point to completely lag out. And that means that, for example, cannons don't even hit, the projectiles simply don't even hit. And that goes for a lot of other abilities as well. So those should hopefully work properly now and hit now. And this is hopefully out of the game now, even though I'm not sure how effective it will be, given that the points are still massively laggy even when people play normal and don't try to glitch abuse. Then there are several fixes, fix several known causes of players being invulnerable. This issue is a top priority for our team, and we're continuing to track down fixes for additional causes of this issue. Again, I wanted to talk about this one earlier, but I really didn't want to give people ideas, so I figured I'm going to talk about it now. This is an issue that, for example, affected the hatchet, this affected the ice gauntlet, this affected dodges, and it probably affects more things as well. There are some other things that likely provide invulnerability as well, or used to provide it at least. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want people to try them out as well. There's a good chance that there are more that aren't fixed if they just did specific target fixes for every single one of these interactions, but if they did more of a blanket fix, then those may be solved as well. There are also issues where players could get stuck after leaving Outpost Rush, and that one they couldn't reproduce. And it's something to do basically with dying at the end of Outpost Rush. And we'll see what happens there. They say we'll continue to monitor during the rollout. I'm assuming they will reset people much quicker if they get this issue. Now, even though these issues are fixed, there's still a variety of very large issues that are, game breaking. They're just straight up game breaking, especially when it comes to wars. There are still ways in which people can make themselves near invulnerable or completely invulnerable. There are some that were already shown today involving the healing circle. There are some involving things that I don't even know how they work. There are some issues involving other damage dealing weapon where you deal way more damage than intended. And yeah, some of these had like some band-aid fixes, I would say, that make them harder to replicate now, but they can still be done. And this is a huge problem. And so far, it seems that the companies who are aggressively abusing these bugs are not getting punished for it significantly. And that is, I think, the most frustrating part of it all, that you can just get away with doing it over and over and you don't get any punishments. So yeah, I really hope they not only get around to fixing more of these as quickly as possible, but also figure out like proper punishments for the people doing it, because I'm sure there will be other bugs that will be found for a while that can be abused in similar ways. And as of now, a lot of them are very, very, very massively game-changing, if not game-breaking. And yeah, those should hopefully be fixed very, very soon. Again, I don't want to go into too much detail about how all of them work, because then there will just be more people abusing them, but we still have ways to go. I am happy with the changes they made here. Obviously, they targeted the stuff that has been known for a little bit longer, and some of this stuff is newer, so I imagine they're working on it now that they're aware. But there are also some issues that we have specifically reported to them that they didn't seem to be aware of, or at least customer support was not aware. Who knows what they don't know that higher ups or devs know. But yeah, I hope the next update comes soon, and I hope Outpost Rush at least will work decently, despite the bugs or the glitches that people could abuse in that as well. I hope at least most people will be playing clean in that. Fingers crossed. With that, thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one soon. If you're new to the channel, fix the sub button and maybe the bell. SLOTH, out.